Hey guys, it's Taku. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Man, it has been a while since I've sat down and read some manga. So today, that's all we're going to do. We're going to talk about the manga that I read during Halloween weekend and kind of the day leading up to it. Didn't read as much as I was hoping to, but I did have a small list of things that I wanted to try to read. Some of them are more spooky Halloween related than others. But let's go ahead and get started with the first one. So, as you guys all know, I'm in a Sailor Moon kick. That is of no surprise. There's more Sailor Moon content to come, by the way. But the first thing I did is Sailor Moon Eternal Edition, Volume 1. And I did go ahead and read Volume 2. I did not talk about Volume 2 in the latest vlog that I did for the Sailor Moon reading of the manga. But this is the Eternal Editions from Kodansha. And this is by, of course, Naoko Takeuchi. I don't think it's really a Halloween read necessarily, unless you find Beryl in the Dark Kingdom to be kind of spooky. But it does have some, interesting takes on monsters and demons, and of course, magical girls fighting by moonlight. So I thought it kind of fit in a way. But yeah, Sailor Moon is great. It's a classic manga, and if you want to know more specifically about my thoughts on it, I'm not only going to talk about it in future videos, but I've already got a video up. So go check out my Sailor Moon reading vlog. And I think we'll just move on to the next title now. So aside from Sailor Moon, jumping back into manga reading, the first thing that I did was Dead Demons, Destruction. And I hope I said all the deads right. This is, of course, by Inio Usano, and it's brought to us by Viz in their signature big versions. And I love this manga so much. I have not read any other Inio Asano works aside from Dead Demons, but what I can tell you about Dead Demons is it is a really nice, atmospheric Halloween read. It is not necessarily spooky, it's not scary, it's not even suspenseful, but it does have an interesting premise where these girls are living in everyday Tokyo. I have Volume 2 here, and I have Volume 3. Just another day until the aliens invade, and the aliens don't really do anything. They kind of just float above the city, just moving around. And until then, until they strike, life moves on. And so these girls are pretty much preparing for their college entrance exams. And it's pretty much a slice of life manga the more I think about it. But it's funny. The humor is so weird and dirty and silly. And that's kind of like how I like humor. I love this character in particular. I'm actually blanking on names. I know Karode is the main character, but this is her friend, her partner in crime through a lot of things, and she's so weird, and I love her dialogue. But in addition to that, the art is also very, very detailed. Lots of lovely cityscape stuff. Not really showing off the best of it, but it's very inventive as a piece of fiction. Like, there's this moment, I literally passed it right here, where they're saying that, there's them taking a picture, and then here is them kind of running around that same building. So there's lots of cool, interesting meta design stuff in this comic, and I want to read more. I've read the first 3, so this was 2 and 3 that I read, and I want to pick up at least the next few volumes in my next haul. Alright, next up is another one of my favorite manga that I am currently reading. I love this series so much. This is Call of the Night by Kotoyama, and of course it is brought to us by Viz Media. I read Volume 2, and I read Volume 3 right here. And I love this series with all my heart. This is like taking over my life pretty much. It is this vampire romance comedy about middle schooler. Ko loves the night. He's a very curious teenager. He wants to know what life is like at night, and he's kind of also lonely, doesn't really want to go to school anymore. He's kind of burnt out with life, actually, now that I think about it. But he runs into Nazuna one night, and she's a vampire, and so she's willing to show him the ropes in exchange for blood, and of course he wants to be a vampire too now, and she's a little hesitant to make him one because it involves a little contract of love. And there's more to it that I don't really want to get into detail here about necessarily, because it's one of those that you just need to read for yourself. But it is so silly and whimsical, and more than that, it's interestingly sensual, and it's funny, and it's dirty, and it's kind of in the same vein of Dead Demons. It's very cynical and snarky, and again, yeah, it's dirty. I think there's lots of dirty jokes throughout this that would make a 5-year-old laugh, like myself. But, if you're wanting something more sophisticated, you'll probably want to look elsewhere. But I love the art style of this. It's a very horny manga, surprisingly. And so if you like, your dirty jokes and, again, kind of your more atmospheric nighttime reads, then you might like Call of the Night too. I highly recommend it. It is one of my favorites, and I am so looking forward to picking up more. The The next read that I've got is actually one that I won in Shay's giveaway. I did go ahead and pick up Real Account. I got volumes 1 and 2 here. This is a story by Okusho, and it's the manga by Shimizu Watanabe. This is a survival game type cell phone. Think in the same vein as Future Diary. It's like Future Diary and Sword Art Online put together, because you've got like 10,000 people are whisked away into this cell phone app social media game, and basically they have to play to survive. It's very cruel, it's very brutal, it's very demonic and demented manga, really, when you think about it, because people die a lot. And when you die in the virtual world, of course you die in the real world. But the catch is that it's based on this social media and numbers game. So in this game world, there are certain tasks and challenges that may want to increase your follower count or decrease it. If you lose followers, of course you also die in the real world, so you want to at least maintain one follower. But also, if you die in the game world, all of your followers die in real life. This is a balancing act. The main character, Ataru, is very torn between, how much he wants to continue socializing with people. He was kind of a loner to begin with, but he made all of his friends through the net. And so once he's tossed into the world of Real Account, he finds out kind of the true meaning of social media relationships and kind of the artificiality of living in the digital world. It's a very interesting manga, but I think it's more on that slasher horror fun game type thing. It's got an escape room element to it, so if you like kind of quick flash murder games, kind of like Danganronpa, you would really like this. It's a combination of a lot of things that I like. I mean, I've dropped some of those titles. It's just really, I don't know, it's interesting. I don't think I'm going to continue with it physically, though, because I know that there are 24 or 26 volumes and that it's complete already. So I'm going to actually probably go digital with this, because I think it's on Kindle Unlimited, and keep reading it. But I definitely want to check out more, because it's right up my alley. It's this easily digestible murder, suspense, action, and lots of things happening, lots of people die. And the last book that I read was Your Turn to Die, Majority Vote Death Game. This is the original story and adaptation by Nanki Dai, and the adaptation is by Tatsuya Ikegami. But this is a manga adaptation of the game Your Turn to Die, and I've hauled this in a while back, and I was so excited and so shocked to see that there was a manga of this game, because the game's not even finished, and so the manga is also new. But it is an indie game, and it's a horror indie game, and it's really polished and cleaned up in this manga adaptation. In fact, depending, on how far the manga goes in adapting the rest of it, and if the story shows up, I would actually probably recommend the manga over the game itself. But basically, you've got the main girl, Sarah, and her pal, Joe. They're BFFs, kind of making it through life, until one day they are basically kidnapped, and they wake up on these strange bed stretcher type things. Once they escape from that trap, which is the first challenge, they come into a room with, I think, 11 other individuals. Maybe there are 11 total, but they realize that they are trapped in this building of sorts. You really don't know anything about the setting, other than that certain rooms and floors unlock as they go. So in that sense, it is very similar to Danganronpa. And again, as you can see, I love Danganronpa. It is a survival game, and the majority vote death game gets its trial spin, where as you progress through the story, you eventually come across a courtroom, and in the courtroom, you basically duke it out to see who dies. And that part isn't really covered necessarily in this. It only adapts part of chapter 1, and last I remembered, there were at least 2 or 3 chapters, or 2 or 3, major arcs in the game so far in development. Might be even done now, I don't know. That was a couple years ago, I think, last I played it. But it's very, very, very good. I love this a lot. It's very emotional. It makes you really attached to the characters in the short time that you're given. And again, if you are hesitant to play the game, because the game is, it's a bit creepy and scary, and it's also, it's indie. It's definitely an indie game. But pick up the manga, because it is polished and it's very nice, and I'm looking forward to see how much it gets adapted and how far it releases. This was my last read for the Halloween season. I think a very fitting one to end on, because survival games, right? There were a couple books that I did not get to, though, as much as I wanted to. One of them was A School Frozen in Time, Volume 3. I actually probably would have read this instantly. It would have been the first one that I read, but I had gone back home for a while with my parents, and I forgot to bring Volume 2 and 1 with me, so I kind of forgot what happened a little bit, and I usually like to reread part of the previous volume to catch up on this. So I held off on that, but I'll definitely get around to it. Another one that I've got here is Mars Red, Volume 1, Vampires, Tokyo, Taisho era. definitely spooky, definitely good, but I had recently watched the anime for it, so I kind of want to wait a little bit longer for this to sit. And then the last one I have is Kazuo Umezu's Drifting Classroom, and the sole reason that I chickened out on reading this is because I am weak. I did not want to read something that was truly horrific this Halloween, even though I read all these crazy slasher survival game stuff. I know that this is going to be genuinely spooky, and will leave you with nightmares. So maybe another time. Maybe another time. But that was everything I read this Halloween. I had so much fun. Maybe I'll put some pictures here of what I dressed up as and kind of the Halloween festivities that I had. But I hope you guys all had a really good weekend. It was a nice time to relax and read manga and, of course, enjoy the fall weather. So going forward, I hope to post more of these manga reflections. Not reading it as much as I'd like to, but when I do read, I'll try to post about it. But let me know if you are reading any of these titles or are enjoying them. Let me know what you read for Halloween and the spooky season. And until next time.